once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. I am your host, as always, Matt Brannon, bringing you all professional wrestling's news, notes, innuendos, and whatever the else hell you can think of that goes on in this great game of professional wrestling. Guys, welcome to the Slow Burn Saturday Short, or let's go ahead and just call it what it's going to be today, the Saturday Not So Short. I need to come up with a new name because none of these are short anymore, or maybe I just call it all just the slow burn and not do anything different. That wasn't the original plan, but hey, we evolve. We evolve, and that's what we're doing here on the slow burn. All right. So, wow. What can I say? What a night last night. But I want to first start that the night started, let's just call it what it is. Extreme shit. Okay. I told you guys yesterday. Had a couple basketball games I was going to watch prior to the wrestling action getting started, and let's just say that both games that I had in mind didn't go as planned. All right, but it doesn't mean the season's over. Well, for one of them, it might be, but I digress. All right, get ready for the NCAA tournament. Can't wait. Selection Sunday tomorrow. However, for something that started so shitty, turned out to be a really good night. And let's go ahead and just say it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, SmackDown was meh. SmackDown was okay, and I am going to review SmackDown. However, today I want to lead with TNA Sacrifice, all right? Last night, TNA on Triller, or the TNA app, depending on how you got a chance to watch it. If you did get a chance to watch it, I don't know how many people that listen are actually TNA people, but today I want to dedicate the majority of this time to that damn pay-per-view, to TNA Sacrifice, live from El Paso, Texas. By the way, such a historic venue they were in. I believe it once was called the El Paso Civic Auditorium. I'm not really sure what the proper name is. Regardless, it's the house the Guerreros built, mainly Senor Eddie Guerrero. Viva la raza! And the whole show had a lot of tributes to Eddie. Really cool. I'll go through some of those as we get through, but I really spend most of my time tonight on TNA, or today on TNA, I should say. All right. The show was absolutely outstanding. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be hard to knock this show off for show of the week, and we got one left to do it, and it's Collision. So we shall see. And I'll do all that tomorrow on our Sunday week in review. Okay. But, let's go through the TNA pay-per-view, guys. TNA Sacrifice live from El Paso. Started off on the pre-show. We had First Class. You guys know AJ Francis. I'm a huge AJ Francis guy. All right. Him and his tag team partner, Casey Navarro, they took on, and by the way, I didn't know they had this name, but it really freaking worked, called the Aztec Warriors. It's Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. Very familiar with both of their work as a tag team. It worked. Like, it was a really good group. First Class goes over. Kind of figured they would. We'll see them a little later on too. That is absolute nothingness. But then it got kind of funny. I have been very enjoying Ryan Nemeth later. If you don't know who he is, that's Nick Nemeth's brother. If you don't know who Nick Nemeth is, he's AKA Dolph Ziggler. All right. And he's been coming out with my big brother. And he comes out just to let us know. By the way, just to feed you in, Nick Nemeth has been suspended for the last 4 weeks. He accidentally kicked Santino Marella in the face. So yeah, he's been done. Suspended without pay, mind you. However, you get to hear him all the time on Thursdays on Busted Open Radio. Second best podcast about professional wrestling in the world, right? But Nemeth comes out and he just wants to say, reminding everybody that his big brother was going to make his comeback tonight. And then he just walks away, right? Then the next match was actually scheduled to be Tessa Blanchard fighting Li Ying Lee. We'll get to that fight, formerly known as Xia Li. We'll get to that match, but before it happened, another match jumped it. As they went backstage, we got the Mance Warner, Mancer for life, baby, ready to fight and ready to drink at any moment's notice. But Mance Warner, accompanied by SDL, Steph DeLander, one of my favorite female wrestlers in the world, Mancer taking on Sami Callihan. Guys, this was a street fight, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it was how a hardcore match is supposed to be. No blood, but just beating the absolute piss out of each other. Sami Callihan can take a beating about as good as anybody in the business. If you don't know who Sami Callihan is, look himself up. By the way, every time he's on the television, my wife says, who's that guy with the messed up hair? And then I have to say, great friends with John Moxley. That's Sami Callihan. Remember, I talk to you about him every fucking week. But what are you gonna do? She doesn't get into TNA like she does some of the other ones. It is what it is. You can't like it all, I guess. So it is what it is. But Mansoor goes over Sammy Callahan. Such a good match. Really, really, I like a good street fight. I like a good hardcore match. I don't like it all the time, but when it's done well, it is so good. And these two dudes put on a freaking clinic of how to run a street fight. They were all over the damn ring, all over the crowd, all over the back. Like, it really worked. I think it only went for like maybe 10 minutes. It might have went a little bit more than 10 minutes, but in that short amount of time, man, they got as much action in as possible. One thing I did want to say though, one thing that was really upsetting about this match is Steph DeLander got very, very littly involved. She wasn't hardly involved at all, right? And that breaks my heart. It just means to me that she's a little still banged up. She's been hurt. She had some neck issues, I think. I don't know. Hopefully, we get to see her back. Hopefully, we get to see her cleared and back in the ring. If you don't know SDL, Steph DeLander, you need to check that shit out. She is absolutely on fire when she's in the ring. And that brings us to that match that was supposed to happen with Li Ying Lee, formerly Xia Li, taking on Tessa Blanchard. Guys, Tessa goes over here. This match was a very, very hard-hitting match. Li Ying Lee has some of the better kicks you're going to see as far as women's professional wrestling today. That freaking roundhouse kick that she delivers is devastating. And Tessa takes it. Like, she sells so well when she sells. And I think her like badass persona she has going right now really works. One thing I want to say is out of like all female wrestling, ladies wrestling right now is so damn good. Why not having the Queen of the Ring movie out right now? So, out of everybody, as far as female women's wrestlers, I don't know if that there's a better heel right now than Tessa Blanchard. Like, she absolutely owns it, and I love it. I will say this though: the El Paso crowd was absolutely hot. I loved it. What I didn't care for was the "You're a racist" chant. All right, we don't need the "You're a racist" chant. We all know Tessa's story. We know that she's tried to rebound from this story. Kind of, but regardless, we're moving on. And one thing, guys, professional wrestling is all about forgiveness, right? I've always kind of felt that, like, we're okay with these guys with their gimmicks in their characters forgiving one another. You know, one guy might have hit his buddy's mother with a freaking chair, and then 2 months later they're tagging back up and all is forgiven. Like, wrestling is a thing of forgiveness. So I don't know, maybe we look at Tessa Blanchard as someone that's grown, someone that deserves that forgiveness. And let's be honest, we love her father, Tully, forever. Tully Blanchard forever, right? So yeah, I mean, I think it's time to let some shit go and just really enjoy her for what she is. And guys, again, I'm not. There's no judgment here. This is not a political show. This is a fucking wrestling show, and I am not dealing with. Speaking of which, I'm going to change the subject for 2 seconds. By the way, and that brings up this Iron Sheik today. Happy heavenly birthday, Sheiky baby. All right. Oh, fuck Hogan. And that's what I say. But funny thing, I'm going for an early lunch today, as the people had to tour our house trying to get sold, and I'm wearing my Iron Sheik shirt, and I had this old man look at me, and I like no, and then I hear it like. He thinks I'm like wearing a Palestinian shirt for some reason, and all I could do was giggle. Like, first off, I'm not getting anything in politics. None of you fuckers need to know any of that because this is a wrestling show. But dude, I'm wearing a freaking Iron Sheik shirt. Stop. Like, this is freaking Iron Sheik. Come on. Former WWF champion. Let's go. Let some things ride here. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the wrestling. Speaking of which, the next match. Oh my God. Such a good tag match. We had the Rascals and Ace Austin going up. Excuse me. Against who did they go up against? Oh, yeah, that's right. Wesley, Tyreek Ingwe, and Tyson DuPont. All right. Now, first off, Wesley does very little wrong in the ring. He is so damn talented. The big dudes, they're big, they're strong, but they are still learning, and you can tell. And there were some missed moments in that match with more with Tyson Ingwe, I thought. I'm sorry, Tyreek Ingwe than it was DuPont. But at the same time, their fire is really good. I think there's a lot of potential there, but maybe they need to be back more as far as like henchmen right now, as we're still kind of continuing to get seasoned. I will say though, I love the announce team kind of talking about the history between Ace Austin and the Rascals, and then bringing it back to the forefront by continuing to mention Chris Bay. By the way, get well soon, baby. We're all keeping up, Chris. We're all keeping up, and we're praying for you, man. But The Rascals and Ace looked great together. Three-man combination moves throughout. Like, you could tell that was really worked on. Wesley's great with his craft as far as selling and being able to take bumps. And honestly, this was a lucha tag. And if you don't know what a lucha tag is, it's kind of like a tornado tag, except for if somebody rolls out of the ring, somebody can go into the ring. So it's kind of like a free-for-all. There's a lot of chaos with it. But it can go. But the one thing I want to say about this, by the way, Rascals go over in an outstanding match. It was really awesome to see Wes Lee take that pin. If you've been watching and you know the story that's been going on between these guys for so long, like, you can see that too. So fantastic job. I want to say this: the Rascals can absolutely work. Like, in the ring, man, they do some of the best high flying stuff that you're going to see. They do some of the best combo moves that you're going to see. They remind me so much of the Motor City Machine Guns, but they may be to the point to where they're getting ready to take that next step. And I just want to say, like, there's so much good tag team wrestling going on right now, which makes me happy. I don't know of anybody that I like watching as a tag team more than I do the Rascals. I don't know. I just, something about Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel work for me. I'm not a, sometimes the undersized wrestlers like that in a tag team is kind of hard to watch, but much like Nathan Frazier and Axiom are doing in NXT, the Rascals really get it done. So I know the Hardys are in the middle of that run, but maybe we can revisit that Hardys and Rascals match that we had a couple months ago. I believe it was at Genesis. Give me that again. Let's see that step climbing, and I don't know. I think maybe getting a little singles action for the Hardys as well as they keep growing. By the way, they're on fire, and man, it looks like it was damn 15 years ago. It really does. And Jeff, keep rolling, baby. So proud of you. Keep rolling. Let's see, where do we go? Rascals go over. Like I said, they can work. I'm just looking at my notes. Then we had Steve Macklin over Frankie Kazarian. Kaz. We also had EY, Eric Young, at the commentary booth. Decent match. It was hard hitting. Honestly, the best part of this match came at the finish, with EY getting involved. By the way, his commentary stuff was really, really solid. He's playing that role of the misunderstood heel. Like, everything he is doing in his mind is completely right, which, I mean, isn't that the idea of a heel? A heel is never wrong. A heel thinks that they are genuine. They think that they are righteous. EY was doing the same thing. And his conversation about Steve Macklin and how he's there for Macklin and he's the right choice for Macklin. And then, of course, they go back with Macklin being a lone wolf and all that. It just really worked. And I thought that it was a good job of connecting the story. I also thought not having the Northern Armory there, the rest of the Northern Armory, kind of worked. It kind of took things back to just EY, just Macklin. Match ends with EY hitting Kaz with brass knuckles, which, by the way, not a heel move because Kaz tried to use them first. EY takes them, puts them on, and then hits Kaz in the back of the head. He goes out. Macklin he comes in for Macklin. Macklin hits his finisher and then gets 1, 2, 3. Macklin never seen EY hit him with those brass knuckles, right? So herein lies the story again. Macklin thinks he wins clean. He's doing things the righteous way, the babyface way. And EY, on the other hand, is saying, without me, man, what could you do? You would have got cracked with brass knuckles. You would have lost again. You've got to keep your eye on the prize, and I'm here to have your back. It's making sense out of heel motives, if that makes sense. And I know I'm spending a little more time on that, but guys, that's storytelling 101. And it's the small stuff like that can really, really stretch a story. And I thought they did a really good job. And I think I've been kind of down on Eric Young lately, on EY, and I thought that this was a really good piece for him. And he did very little physicality. It was mainly him on commentary, but it was the highlight of that match for me. And not that the other two dudes didn't work inside the match, but this is what it was. All right. What else? We had a women's tag team match. Spitfires, the tag team champions. They took on Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance and the personal concierge. Now, obviously, the belts are on the line here, even though it was kind of a handicap match. The belts were on the line, and if Spitfire wins, concierge gets to be their personal concierge. We have new, and by the way, I predicted. If you've noticed here, I've predicted every match so far. I was on fire last night. So not that I'm Barry Horowitz or anything, but I thought this match was meh. Honestly, this was the match that hurt as far as the whole show. But again, The finish worked, right? Ash by elegance, Heather by elegance. They end up pulling out. It's a chicken shit way. They end up winning. I'm not going to go into the details on that. I'm actually glad that they got the straps. I'm good with that, and I don't have to see the personal concierge in ring attire anymore. I don't need to see him in wrestling gear anymore. Look like me in fucking wrestling gear. Not in. Actually, I might have been better. Maybe not now. But what are you gonna do? Hey, what are you gonna do? Self realization. But hey, I thought the match itself was meh. I thought that the talent was decent. Um, Ash by Elegance is good. The former Dana Brooke. I don't know though. I don't know how this works. That the tag team, I don't know, just how it stacks up for the women's tag team in TNA. They need to climb a little bit. It seems like to me there's only two freaking teams. So where are they going to keep going? Enter the finish where we get the meta ladies coming in, right? Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. That's how they finish, with Lash and Jakara at the top of the ramp, looking down at Ash and Heather by Elegance, basically saying, "We're coming for you." Good. That could be awesome. And I'll tell you what else that could be in my brain down the road. It's not going to happen next week, probably. Might not happen in 2 weeks. Down the road, what that could end up being is the first NXT talent to win a TNA championship. That one makes sense to me. And honestly, there are some good possibilities for tag teams in the NXT ranks. Let's get some more action over into the TNA well. Let's let TNA well. Let's let those NXT tags come on over and compete for the tag team championship. Because remember, there is no women's tag team champions in NXT. It kind of makes sense on how to stretch that story out just a little bit. All right. So overall, the match was meh. But it didn't matter, because the next match, oh my fucking god, man! Mustafa Ali and his campaign cabinet, the Great Hands and Tasha Steeles. Big up John Schuyler, looked great. Um, my god, it was good from the very beginning to the very end. The entrance was good. By the way, Mike Santana cruises in a freaking lowrider Impala. I believe they said it was a 64 Impala. Hated that it wasn't a convertible, but my God, what a throwback to freaking Eddie Guerrero. Driving in the freaking souped up lowrider Impala. Or maybe it was a Chevelle. I think it might have been a Chevelle. Anyway, regardless, lowrider with the hydraulics, man. He hits the switches and freaking Mike Santana gets out. It was so Eddie Guerrero-ish. And Mike Santana makes no bones about it. That's his guy. That's his idol. That's who he looked up to. Also, a lot of the same methods. Two Hispanic Americans, both having demons, both being addicts. Yeah, I thought the entrance was so good. It got me ready for this freaking match, and the match did not disappoint, guys. Honestly, I don't know what's going to get match of the week when I give them out tomorrow on the weekend review, but I promise you this will be on the forefront of that. It's going to be in my consideration, if not match of the week. There's another couple more on this one that we might get to with that. So good. Both of these dudes, man. Mustafa Ali, such a great heel. Love the work going into this, going off on Mike Santana about his addictions, going off on Mike Santana. How could your daughter be proud of you? That kind of stuff. Like, that is top of the line heel work. And at the same time, man, Mike Santana's just playing it cool. Like, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like, I'm clean as hell. I'm proud of myself, but the main thing I'm gonna do is beat your ass. And it all freaking worked. The whole thing worked. The action worked. Like, oh my gosh. Thank you, TNA. And Tommy Dreamer, man, head of creative at TNA, my guy. You guys know he's one of my favorite of all time. The innovator of violence, the work that Tommy Dreamer is doing with TNA Creative, and I assume that there's other things at work here. We know Lance Storm's part of TNA as well, helping out there. Plus, you got the NXT folks helping out. But my God, this Mustafa Ali, Mike Santana stuff was absolutely wonderful. And the best part about it is it's not over. It's not over, because Mustafa goes over as a cheating win, right? A little cheating win with the thanks of the great hands. John Schuyler took a little bit of an ass kicking. Always a great hand to watch. He's my guy. I'll say this though. Afterwards, Mustafa Ali taking the beer out of the plant's hand, putting it on the ring apron, looking at the former addict, the former alcoholic Mike Santana, who glances at it and just has a look, man. And that look was it was bitter. It was sad and it was motivated, and I really, really like that. And then you go backstage, he kind of gets in Santino's face a little bit, and we get set up for the match next week on TNA Impact. Next Thursday, we're getting Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali, and the Good Hands and Tasha Steele not allowed at ringside. A legit one-on-one match. Let's see how this is going to turn out. By the way, Mustafa needs a win again. In my opinion, Mustafa needs to go over again. Maybe not clean. Maybe a little ref interference, something like that happens, and it comes out. But this needs to keep going. You need to keep Mike Santana underneath, trying to climb up and take out that great politician of Mustafa Ali. The whole thing fucking worked, man. It was such a good match. And the next match was good. Women's Championship. I'm going to run out of time, so I got to start speeding up here. Masha goes over Cora Jade. Cora looked good. She gets better every time out, and it's awesome to see Masha successful in a non-hardcore match. I think she gets a bad rap sometimes as being just this death match wrestler, when in reality she can freaking work, man. And her and Cora proved that last night. Masha goes over. Going to be really interesting to see what comes next. I think it could be interesting. I don't know who's next. I really don't. I know it's got to be Tessa at some point, but do they pull that trigger now? That's the real question. If they do, I'm good with it. If they don't, I just want to know who's next. So we shall see. What else did we have? Oh my God, ladder match. Jeff Hardy versus Moose. All right. This was the only miss I had of the night. All right. Moose goes over. I honestly thought Jeff Hardy was going to win the freaking X Division title for any reason other than he earned it. Any other reason that he deserves it. Any other reason that he's Jeff fucking Hardy, man. And somebody should have told Jeff last night that he's almost 50 or whatever, and it's not 20 years ago, because Jeff Hardy looked just as good as he did in ladder matches against Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. Like, let's just call it what it is. The guy is absolutely wonderful. And that match is not as good without Moose. Moose was so good. By the way, Moose is scared of heights, and I don't give a damn if you're scared of heights. You know what I'm talking about. You can be up 5 feet, or you can be up 50 feet, and it's going to bother you. Moose on top of a ladder had to scare the shit out of that man, and you couldn't tell except for when he was putting it on as part of the match. Like, really damn good. Both of them did some spectacular stuff. The swanton on the table on the outside almost missed. Was really kind of cool to see the guys give each other the signal with a little pinch to let each other know that they were okay. It's the simple things in wrestling that sometimes you pick up on. But yeah, the match was outstanding. It could have been, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And like I said, it was just another one of those instances of this show being outstanding. My God, man, we had freaking Revolution that was so outstanding last week. And by the way, it will be part of the week in review, right? And that's what's going to be crazy about this, because Revolution was Sunday. So it actually has an opportunity to be show of the week too. So you got Revolution and damn Sacrifice both freaking meeting up. AEW TNA. Wow. What a week, guys. What a week. And freaking Raw was great too, right? We had Roadblock too on Tuesday. Oh my God, this week has been great. So Moose goes over. I just want to say this. Those dudes can dance. Jeff Hardy and Moose, don't be done. Wrestle again. Wrestle again. I don't care if it's a tag team match. I don't care if it's one-on-one. I don't care if you're doing the tango. Keep dancing. Keep wrestling. That was awesome. We had the first class filler. I'm not even going to mention that. And that brought us to the main event, guys. Main event was chaos on top of chaos on top of chaos. It was a 10-man tag team match. The System and the Colognes taking on Joe Hendry, Elijah, Matt Hardy. Who else did we have here? Nick Nemeth. And I know I'm missing someone, but Leon Slater. My God, Leon Slater. He was the best show on the freaking match. Leon Slater was great. Joe Hendry was great. By the way, you can tell it's just different when Joe Hendry gets in there. It really is. The crowd is different. The match itself is different. Everything just becomes, I don't know, almost rock star-ish, let's say. But I thought he really shined in this match, but I also thought the youngster Leon Slater really shined in this match. The other person to me that showed out in this match was Brian Myers. Brian Myers might be the best worker in the business right now, that you don't know a whole lot about. Formerly known as Kurt Hawkins in the WWE. So damn good. The match was so damn good. A 10-man tag match can be chaos. And when it's organized chaos like this, it absolutely worked. By the way, how they did it was one guy coming down every 2 minutes, very much like a war game style match, very much like a elimination chamber where so many people get out after so much time. But Joe Hendry and the boys go over. Kind of had a feeling that would happen, and then all hell broke loose. Right? We got another freaking heel turn. And why not let it be one of John Cena's old opponents, Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear him on Busted Open next week as he tells us all about this. But he goes complete heel. It was interesting. You almost knew it was happening. The ring starts clearing, and then you got Matt Hardy and Nick Nemeth up on the top. They're celebrating. Nick's dancing to the Hardy music. And then you look over to the side, and Ryan Nemeth is locking the cage door. It's over, man. They laid the damn wood to freaking Matt Hardy. Now, what we got is a setup for the Hardys and the Nemeths, right? We're getting brothers versus brothers. And please and thank you. Jeff Hardy and Nick Nemeth in a one-on-one match would be great. In this as a tag match is going to be great. Like, okay, I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it. So, man, Nick Nemeth going heel doesn't surprise me because Nick can totally function on both sides of the fence. He's been great with both. I personally like his heel work the best when he's playing that arrogant asshole. I think that's what we're going to get out of this. And why wouldn't you, right? You got the cry, whiny, chicken shit heel in Ryan Nemeth, and then you got the arrogant asshole heel in Nick Nemeth, and I think it's going to really play well off the Hardys as hot as they are. So yeah, I mean the match was great, guys. This TNA show got an A minus. We're scoring that as an A minus. So if you remember, Revolution was an A minus last week too, or this week too. So it's going to be close. You'll have to find out tomorrow on our week in review. We're running out of time, guys. I want to run down some SmackDown stuff. By the way, who knew SmackDown? Who knew LA Knight was that over in Spain? SmackDown taking place in Barcelona, Spain. It was taped. It was on a live tape, but still great. The match, as far as the opener, was awesome. LA Knight, like I said, who knew he was so damn over? But we end up getting LA Knight and Jimmy Uso and Braun Strowman taking on Bloodline 2.0 of Solo, Jacob, and Tama Tonga. Jacob and Tama Tonga stole the show. There were shining moments in this match for everybody, but there's nobody in the world right now better than Jacob Fatu. Period. Done. I said it. But Braun and the boys go over there. This thing probably ain't over. We're getting Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu at Mania, I bet. And okay, good. Take my money. No problem. The Jade Cargill interview sucked until Liv Morgan showed up. I don't want to spend much time talking about that. The interview didn't work for me. I thought Jade was choppy. I thought that she made Kathy kind of off a little bit. I don't know. It just didn't work. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But when Liv showed up, started talking shit to Jade, it looked very real. There was a lot of realism to that. Ooh, I just walked in your interview. Ooh, fuck you. And it was great. So that part worked. And then basically the show goes downhill with the exception of the brawls. The Charlotte B-Fab match was not very good. Charlotte looked good. B-Fab wasn't ready for that moment. All right, I'm just going to call it what it is. She wasn't, and I kind of thought that might happen. And it's not a down to her. I think sometimes you get thrown into positions that you aren't ready for. And I think sometimes you just have off nights. So I'm going to say that this was an off night for B-Fab. But then it got damn good. Tiffy runs down, takes care of business, and they fight through the break. You come back from Miz TV, and they're still fighting. It was good. Same thing happens later on in the night as Damian Priest beats Shinsuke Nakamura and by disqualification because Drew comes in and knocks the piss out of him. Now, why it takes 25 security people to separate Charlotte and Tiffy and only one referee to separate Drew and Damian, that's weird, but the thing worked. It totally worked. I scored this show a C plus just because I didn't care for it. I wanted more Cody and Miz. I loved that interaction. It didn't last, although Miz calling John Cena a great rapper was awesome. All right. The Gunther Axiom stuff was good. Street Profits win the belts. That was awesome. The tag team division keeps on rolling. So we scored it a C plus, guys. The SmackDown C plus. Sorry I'm not spending a lot of time on it today, but you guys know I do it every week. So Speaking of which, every week, Collision preview. We got to go quick here. We got Mark Briscoe versus Mark Davis in the International Tournament. Ricochet versus Shibata in the International Tournament. The winner of those two will go in the Fatal 4-Way to match up with Orange Cassidy and Speedball Mike Bailey. We're also getting FTR versus Undisputed Kingdom, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong tonight. Let's go FTR. Let's rank it all day long. And then we're getting Thunder Rosa versus Megan Bayne. I asked for that match the other day, and I'm going to get it on the Slow Burn. Guys, in this world, we're wrestling everything, so stay on top. Join us tomorrow for our week in review. I can't wait.